Hey everybody, Kyle Hislop here from slapsold.com. In November of 2021, Chilliwack recorded a record 615 millimeters of rainfall, smashing the previous record of 516 set in 1990. It was the first time that Chilliwack was effectively turned into an island. Highway 1 was shut down in both directions. It was a really strange time. I remember going to the grocery store and everything was picked through and most of the shelves were bare. The lineups at the gas station were insane. Eventually, the provincial government put a restriction on how much gas you could fill up at one time. So many homes were affected by flooding and landslides, and the recovery costs will be well over $1 billion when the dust settles. I personally had a ton of calls from friends and family all across Canada asking if I was okay. Was my house underwater? I was fine, by the way. Even though I live in Chilliwack, I don't live in the floodplain, so we had little to no issue at all. Even people in the lower mainland, they thought Chilliwack was completely underwater. So with all the confusion of what and where the floodplain is in Chilliwack, I decided to make this video to help explain. The city of Chilliwack has an online map you can use called maps.chilliwack.com. If you pull it up on your computer, you can click on the hamburger on the right side and open up the drop-down menu. If you scroll down, you can select the floodplain overlay. This will show you three main features: areas that are not in the floodplain, which are represented by the brown lines, areas that are in the floodplain and not protected by any dikes, which are represented by the short purple lines, and the rest of the areas are all in the floodplain but are protected by the diking system. So as you can see, when you zoom out, basically everything south of Knight Road on the Sardis side is not in the floodplain at all. Obviously all the mountains, Chilliwack Mountain, Little Mountain, Eastern Hillsides, Promontory, etc., they are all also not in the floodplain. Everything else is either in the protected or the unprotected floodplain areas. For example, if you zoom into Fairfield Island, you can see clearly that the homes on the east side of Yonge Road are in the floodplain but are protected by the dikes, and the homes that are on the west side of Yonge Road are also in the floodplain but are not protected by the dikes. A really interesting area is Longhorn Estates on Chilliwack Mountain. Here we have an example of a single development that is both non-floodplain and unprotected floodplain at the same time. When you pull up this area on the map and click on the development, you can see that 74% of it is non-floodplain, but 26% is unprotected floodplain. Pretty easy to figure out that the closer you get to the Fraser River, those are the properties that are in the unprotected floodplain area. These properties can be super confusing to people who are not from Chilliwack, because one would think buying on a mountain would protect you from potential flooding. However, clearly not the case, and another important reason to hire a local agent when you're buying in Chilliwack. A question I get asked a lot is, can you get a mortgage when purchasing a home in the unprotected floodplain? The short answer is yes, but it's not that simple. In order for a lender to lend money on a property located in the unprotected floodplain, they would require a security backed by more collateral than your typical purchase. More often than not, you'll have to deal with community-minded lenders like credit unions. Home insurance is also a challenge. In both these situations, before purchasing any home, it is extremely important to have these conversations with your mortgage broker and your insurance provider. So aside from homes located in the unprotected floodplain, can regular homeowners get flood insurance? It's important to be clear what the question is you are asking. Well, being insured for flooding from a pipe bursting or roof leaking, that is super common. Being protected from flooding from a river is very different. This type of insurance is called overland flood insurance and has only been available in Canada since 2015. With Canada experiencing incredible climate change patterns, overland insurance has exploded, and currently 50% of all Canadians have it on their home insurance. Costs can be anywhere between $100 and $300 per year, depending on your location of your home and the risk level. It generally maxes out at $1,000 per year for high-risk homes, and then after that, it's just simply not offered. There are potentially people in the Sumas Flats during this last flood who are not able to have overland flood insurance at all. Another thing to consider is, can the home be rebuilt if it floods? Because the city can be partially responsible for the remediation of a flooded home, sometimes they change the zoning rules and the house can become non-conforming. Meaning the home was allowed to be built under the zoning regulation at the time. However, as zoning regulations change, some homes cannot be rebuilt. We've seen these types of properties a few times around Chilliwack when homes were originally built too close to the rivers or creeks. So I hope this helps you understand real estate in Chilliwack a little more, especially when it comes to floodplain. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And as always, if you enjoy this type of information, please do me a favor by liking and subscribing to my channel. See y'all next time.